Hi Pisces, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen with Bohemian Path Tarot, and today we are doing September readings, if you can believe it. I've got the Tarot of Mystical Moments here, and these have a little glare, so I apologize in advance for the little bit of the occasional lens flare. As always, these are general readings for a general audience, so it might really resonate with you. It might resonate later in the month because it might take a little bit to kick in. Or one of the other placements, one of the videos for your other placements might be a little more resonant for you. So if you know your sun sign, your rising sign, or your moon sign, check the videos for all of those placements. I'm going to go ahead and give the deck a really good shuffle for you. I always fast forward or kind of edit the video over the shuffling part because I don't like to chit chat over the shuffling. I do a kind of long and solemn shuffle. So we'll cut that bit out, but we'll get right into the reading as I place the cards for you. So I will see you there in just a second. Okay. Okay, Pisces, let's see what we've got. Page of Cups, the Hermit, the Lovers, Ace of Cups. Wow. Okay. So Pisces, your main energy this month for September is the Ace of Cups, which is all about reconnecting to a feeling of joy and satisfaction and feeling connected to your life, your loved ones, friends, family, the universe, your ancestors. It's about feeling like plugged in and connected. So if you've been feeling like disconnected from your life, from your world, from yourself, that's about to be remedied this month. And you can always help that along with some self-care, with some yoga, maybe Reiki therapy. This therapy is really well supported when you see the Ace of Cups. Self-care, Reiki, tarot readings, all that stuff is really well supported. But you know what else is supported? Making time to see your friends, making time to go on a date with your partner, or get back on those dating apps and feeling hopeful if you're a single person, and letting yourself believe in love, that sort of thing. When aces come up, they indicate that the universe is inspiring to help you in a particular area, and you'll find little gifts or goodies or, a little extra support when it comes to, the issue that particular cup is or that particular ace is ruling. And cups are about emotions, feelings, satisfaction, love, connectivity, like feeling connected to people and life, the universe. Feeling safe, feeling, healthy, feeling like your best healthy self. Feeling ready to share yourself, feeling ready to be authentic. So when in doubt, Pisces, share yourself. When in doubt, trust, When in doubt, reach out, connect. And we see it's this is a really interesting reading because we see two other cards that really support that. And then we have the Hermit up here, which seems to be the opposite. Seems. But we'll get to that in a second. So, but in any case, if you're wondering if this is a time to, connect, reach out, get back on those dating apps, this is all yes. If this is a time for self-care, if this is a time to, go to the salon or spa, or, that's all yeses for those things. Be gentle with yourself, believe in yourself. Vision boards and therapy and all that kind of stuff, reaching out to your friends, most definitely. And we see that right here in the Page of Cups, because pages tend to be messages and messengers and communicating and getting excited to reach out and getting excited to get more information and making connections, deliberately making connections. And oftentimes, this is where you'll see people reaching out to you. When you are open, then you'll start to see these messages coming in. When you are hopeful, you'll have these messages. It's like the sort of thing, like, I'm going to use the dating app example. This is not the only thing you have going on here, especially for people who aren't interested in dating, but this is just an example. For those of you who are, please, make a note of this. For those of you who aren't, this is just as one example, and you can kind of extrapolate how it might be showing up in your life. But for those of you who are interested, it's the sort of thing where you kind of have to let the world know that you are available for dating, right? So you've got to put yourself, it helps if you put yourself on a dating app. It helps if you tell your friends you are available and looking, and here are some criteria you're interested in. It helps if you get out into the world and do things that you like volunteer at a museum or volunteer at a charity or art or, I don't know, political event that you are interested in, to meet like-minded folks and, increase your chances of connecting with someone that shares your interests, and increase your chances in any case. So that's what the Page of Cups is kind of reflects. It's like once you kind of put yourself out there, this is when you can't get invitations if you aren't out there where you can be seen to get those invitations, right? And a dating app or, a volunteer event is a great place to plant yourself or put yourself out there to get an invitation. Someone once also gave me the analogy of a cab light, and I guess this is probably an ancient analogy because there aren't really taxis anymore. But I guess Ubers and Lyfts have these now too, where you have a cab is available when their cab light is on, right? And they're not available when the cab light is off. So you know when to hail a taxi, or I guess an Ubers and Lyfts don't work that way at all. But in the olden days, back when cabs and dinosaurs roamed the earth, you would hail a taxi when you would know which taxi to kind of wave when you saw their cab light was on. And you wouldn't waste your energy when their cab light was off. So you have to do a thing where you put your cab light on. So if you are a Pisces looking for love or interested in putting yourself out there, you have to in some way put your cab light on. So then you'll get, the interested parties waving you down, I guess. You understand what I mean. Okay. So the Page of Cups would be the invitations, would be the messages. and the news you want to receive in the area that makes you feel good, that makes you feel connected, that makes you feel seen. And as I mentioned before this whole thing, it's not just about dating, right? So for those folks who are already happily coupled or are not interested in that at all, this could be news or invitations about stuff you are interested in. Like if you're an artist, this could be an invitation to collaborate with someone, or an invitation to maybe display your art somewhere, an invitation to join a group of some sort, a group that would make you feel seen and validated. Maybe even an invitation to interview for a job, if it's the sort of job that you would really enjoy, something that's really aligns with your sort of heart and your passion, your own sort of natural skill set, or perhaps something creative, or something along the lines of therapy, something therapeutic. Okay, so we've covered the Page of Cups mostly. Now we get to the Hermit, which seems like the opposite of the connecting power of the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups. But the Hermit isn't about shuttering yourself, away, or, climbing to the top of a mountain and, going it solo. The Hermit is really about wisdom, and it's about honoring your own experience, knowing the truth that you have experienced. There's the truth that we learn in schools. There's the education that we get in schools and the education that we get in books. And there's some kind of truth in there. But isn't it astonishing that after we leave primary school and after we kind of get even through high school, and those of us who get through college, for those of us who went there, we get out into the world and we start experiencing things, we often realize, wow, the education we got didn't tell us the whole truth, or maybe it was a perspective of a truth, but we learned something else. Or sometimes, we learn part of what it means to be in a relationship, or part of what it means to be connected to something through one sort of relationship, but then we are connected with someone else, or a different type of relationship brings us a whole other kind of experience. And so we gain other kinds of knowledge through our own experiences. And we find ourselves in especially midlife, later in life, and we have collected knowledge through our own experience that may differ, or it may not be the sort of thing that could ever be taught in books or in classrooms, right? And that's what the Hermit speaks to. It speaks to that wisdom that we have earned through our own experience, that we know the truth of ourselves, the truth for ourselves, that even if somebody tries to encourage us to want this in a relationship or to expect that, we can be solid, we can be secure in our own truth, right? That's what the Hermit is speaking to. So in September, this major arcana card is supportive of you making choices that honor your own truth. You know yourself, that you know what is right for you. And even if you make choices that your sister wouldn't make, or your mom wouldn't make, or your coworker wouldn't make, or your best friend wouldn't make, you have to follow your star, right? You have to follow what's true for you. And maybe you have some wisdom that you could share Maybe you have some wisdom that your sister or your mom or your best friend haven't yet gained, or maybe you have a perspective or a way of sharing your perspective that could help someone. Maybe not your sister. Maybe there's an audience online or somewhere else that you could help. That's another aspect of the Hermit, is that wisdom that you might know yourself, and you might make choices that your loved ones don't understand. There might be an audience further afield or on the other side of a screen that get that, you know. So as much as September is about reconnecting and making connections, the Hermit can also be about connections that aren't just in your sort of friend, family group. They can be about internet connections. They can be about sharing wisdom, sharing knowledge, finding communities based on your truth, maybe a hard-won truth or a hard-earned truth. I'm going to show you this again because, let's see, oh, I do this backwards all the time because the way I see it in the monitor is backwards. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so you see in the art, it kind of looks like she's alone, right? But she's actually holding a star, and she's leading other ships. She's sort of lighting the way for other ships. The central character is kind of guiding other ships so that they don't, so they know where to go. So she has knowledge that spares other ships, right? That maybe even saves them from themselves. And of course, you notice all the watery elements in the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups because the cups are aligned with that water element. And our Hermit character is also aligned with this watery element. As she sits above it, she's sort of mastered this. She's a mermaid, but she's also mastered this element. That represents you. The main character represents you, having sort of mastered your emotions, your sort of maybe your shadow side, knowing your own truth and being able to use your own experience, your own knowledge to help guide others. Now, finally, we have the Lover's card. And again, so for those of you who are looking, single and looking, this is a great omen. For those of you who are not interested in or concerned about that, this doesn't have to be about relationships, but we'll focus on the folks who are single and maybe looking first. The Lovers reminds us that interpersonal relationships are essentially contracts. You know, we go in with sort of expectations for what we bring and what we get out of it for what we bring to it. So we should have a partner who is also bringing something and has realistic expectations for what they're going to get out of it. There should be some reasonable expectation of reciprocity and realistic expectation of, you know, what that contract looks like. In order for there to be such a contract, there has to be some capacity for clear communication. I'm kind of looking for this in exchange for that. It doesn't sound sexy to say that it's transactional, and that doesn't mean that there's cash involved, but essentially we want something from our partners in exchange for what we bring to them, and vice versa. That's kind of the deal. So when we talk about choices, the Lovers reminds us to go in with our eyes open. That saying that love is blind, I don't know. That's a recipe for disaster. The Lovers actually supports us in making good choices. So for those of you who aren't looking for a romantic relationship, the contract piece and the choice piece still applies. So this could indicate a time when a contract comes in, or when you're negotiating a contract like a job or a lease or something like that. And the same sort of essence is, be clear about what you bring to the table and be clear that you're getting what you expect for what you bring. Especially if you're dealing with or negotiating with a friend or a family member, don't make assumptions about what you're getting from the contract or the deal. Put it in writing, or, make a clear contract, make a clear negotiation so that, both parties are accountable for what they bring and for what they get out of the transaction, let's call it. Wow, Pisces, this is such an interesting reading. I'm noticing also the echoes in the art. There's butterflies here, and there's butterflies in her hair over here too. Butterflies always suggest, a time of transition, transformation. So there could be some new beginning. And of course, aces are new beginnings too. So again, for those of you who are single and looking, there's a lot of support here for a new relationship, but there is that piece where you have to go out and be seen and participate in life, but it's really well supported. I think for some Pisces too, there's a piece about contracts, and possibly contracts as in like a contract for a job, or maybe for writing a book, or another creative endeavor, or editing. This is one of those sort of very specific things, but for me, the Hermit card has come up specifically for editing projects. So for anyone who is an editor or has done editing or works in the publishing field, that could be supported by the Hermit card. Also, birds and ships are, we have the bird here too. They are symbols of messages and movement. So there could also be, for some Pisces, there could also be some travel. So for those Pisces for whom that might be an option, make sure your passport is up to date. Yeah, okay, so that's everything that's coming through. Pisces, this is just such an interesting reading. I think you're going to have a really full September of connecting, especially emotionally with other people, but there also seems to be some contracts as well. So I wish you the very best. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you are so inspired. Also, take good care of yourself. Until next time, bye for now.